Hi, hey, hello, and welcome to this 107th episode of a Colts podcast. I'm Brandon. I turned off the music. I'll just turn it down. And I'm joined here by your co-host.
We're off to a great start.
Friend, Andrew Moore. I meant to turn it down. I just completely turned it. You know what? Music's off. Music's off. We're here. We're live. I'm here with Andrew on a Colts podcast. Andrew, big game this weekend against the Bills. Little 2020 AFC wildcard rematch. How you doing? How you feeling about this weekend? What's up?
I'm excited for this weekend. I'm excited to see what the Colts do. It's time. It's time to nut up or shut up, pretty much, because it's the Colts this year have beat up on the bad teams, but they can't close out on the good teams. I mean, the Colts had a lead against Baltimore. They had a lead against Tennessee, and really it just didn't finish those games off. So it's time. It's time for the Colts to show if they're ready to be a playoff team. And I think if they play at their best, they can beat this Buffalo Bills team. The Buffalo Bills just lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Bills are 6-3 while playing the easiest schedule in the NFL. The Colts are 5-5, so it's not like that there's a huge difference between those two teams' records. But it's going to come down to how these two teams play, obviously. Can the Colts run the ball on this Buffalo Bills defense? Can the Colts defense put up a fight against Josh Allen and this number one ranked Bills offense? So it's going to be exciting to see, and I'm excited to see what the Colts have. That's pretty much it. How's it going, man?
I'm all right. I'm fine. I just forget how to push buttons. Before we get rolling here, don't forget to go follow us at a Colts podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Subscribe and turn on the little bell on here. Go fill out the Apple Podcast reviews. I haven't looked at those in a long time. Go see what those are all about right now. Go talk shit about us, or just give us 5 stars and say it's the best Colts show on the internet, because it is. Definitely the most entertaining. Maybe not the smartest. I'd say we're pretty up there on the smart scale too. Yeah, Andrew, I don't feel good about this weekend. I won't give you my official prediction right now, but I will say Colts plus 245 at Bills minus 310. I think that's a little wide. Spread of 7, over under 50.5. I think the over definitely hits, and definitely Colts are going to cover a 7-point spread. Definitely think the Colts cover a 7-point spread, but at the very least, Andrew, like we said before, it is a rematch of a close game that we could have won. Things have changed. I don't think the Bills defense, I know they're playing well, and the stats tell me I'm wrong, but I haven't felt as good about the Bills defense this year, aside from a couple of real big blowouts and shutouts, like against Miami. I think those have padded their numbers a little bit. And then obviously we don't have, the super intelligent Uncle Phil, under center. We've got the careless, the little crazy with the football Carson Wentz. And I don't know how he doesn't have more turnovers this year, to be completely honest, but it's going to be an interesting football game, and I think it all is going to start with our offensive line.
I think you're right. The offensive line, when I watched the film last night and this morning of Carson Wentz for my Wednesday piece, and the offensive line, man, it was bad. It was back to what it kind of was earlier in the year. Ryan Kelly got blown up on a couple plays. Eric Fisher could not stop Josh Allen. It seemed like he was getting pushed back in the pocket pretty much every play. And Quentin Nelson, I know Quentin Nelson's hurt, and that probably played a big factor into it, but there were multiple times where Quentin Nelson even got beat. And that's what really contributed to this Colts offense not being as explosive and not being like we've seen the 4 weeks prior, when the Colts scored 30 points or more each one of those games. So we're taking a look at this offensive line, and they're going to be going up against a defensive line for the Buffalo Bills that has guys like Ed Oliver, guys like Jerry Hughes, guys like I think Greg Rousseau, the rookie defensive end out of Miami is on that team. They've got plenty of guys that really like to get after the quarterback, and the Bills have been successful in doing that. Now, last year, the Colts did a pretty good job of keeping Phillip Rivers upright in that game and allowing Phil to sit back there, kind of dissect the defense and throw it where he wanted to. And I think the Colts are really going to have to do that. It all starts up front with this Colts offense. The offensive line, again, needs to play at its best. Quentin Nelson was a full participant in practice today, which is really good to see. Again, Braden Smith is still probably dealing with that elbow injury a little bit, but you want to see this Colts offensive line get back into the form that we saw a few weeks prior to last week. Otherwise, I don't think the Colts have a shot in hell at this game unless their offensive line is performing probably to the best of their abilities.
And I, as one of our faithful fans, I think it was Matt, said that Glow actually outsnapped Reed last week. I don't think Reed had as good of a game as he's had so far this season. So I want him to bounce back a bit. I do agree with you. I think this might be Quentin Nelson, and I understand that he's dealt with injuries, but it might be his worst year to date. And it could be injuries slowing him down. That could be it. I hope that he's able to turn around. He's not played bad, but I mean, just not the normal Quentin Nelson you're used to seeing. Penalties actually have been the more surprising thing out of Quentin Nelson, some holds and stuff, because he's getting beat and he's not used to it. But the offensive line is definitely going to have to play their part in this game. Carson Wentz, if he is in trouble in this football game, he's going to turn the ball over. If he's getting made to run around and it forces him to do the stuff that we've been seeing, like an ugly left-handed flick toss thing, ugly, hideous, shouldn't have been done. Then it's going to result in turnovers against this defense.
It really will. This defense isn't anything to be messed with, and I think we'll just dive right into Carson Wentz. I like how you were talking about it earlier, and when I put this story in my Wednesday piece today. So a couple weeks ago at Lucas Oil Stadium, in timeouts they play those little videos or whatever. They played a video of Carson Wentz doing his Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, and he had the usual guys on there: Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and the fourth guy on his Mount Rushmore, Brett Favre. And it all starts to make sense now, because you remember how Brett Favre played. Every single play he thought could end up in a touchdown. Well, that's exactly how Carson Wentz plays. Now, it led to Brett Favre having some incredible highlight reel plays, but he also is the all-time leader in interceptions.
Yes,
and so it's kind of that catch-22 where you have that ability to make plays in that hero ball with Carson Wentz, but at the same time there's always that risk for turnovers, and that left-handed shovel pass, or left-handed throw, I should say, just no place for it. Just tuck the ball, take the sack, and move on to the next play. And then again, when he was rolling out to his left and tries to shovel pass it 15 yards down the field to Jonathan Taylor, I was watching that play, and it's a lot closer than people think. I mean, he said, well, Taylor was open. It wasn't necessarily a throw that was a risk of being picked off. The Jaguars defensive back was probably only a step from being in position to take that and take it for a pick six. And that could have completely changed the game, just because the Colts were up at that point. The offense was struggling. And if you have issues like that, that can completely flip the momentum of the game. So Carson Wentz really needs to take care of the ball. I mean, there's guys in that secondary like Tre'Davious White. I think it's Micah Hyde is the safety for the Bills. I think Poyer's one of them. Like Matt said, he's worried about Poyer and Hyde as well. And I think Carson Wentz just really needs to get back to how it was. I would say against the Jets. The Jets defense, completely different story, but we didn't see Carson Wentz making those boneheaded plays against the Jets. He was making great decisions, quick decisions with the football, and I think that's what we need to kind of see with Carson Wentz. And Frank Reich can help him out with that too. The quick crossing routes, the slant routes, the quick screen passes. I mean, we've seen Frank Reich help Carson Wentz out. We didn't really see too many screens against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We didn't really see too many crossing routes from the Colts until the very end. I think those staples of that Frank Reich offense need to be more prevalent, and to help Wentz get in that rhythm early, so that way he can settle in and doesn't try to make those boneheaded plays.
This is perfect. One season says Wentz needs to show why he is the franchise quarterback. He's going to have to be the one to win this game, and I disagree. I think we've been saying it all year long. And I mean, I disagree respectfully, of course. We've been saying all year long, though, that Carson Wentz doesn't need to play hero ball. Carson Wentz doesn't need to be the way we win football games. He just needs to at least be the reason we're not. He can't be the reason we do lose football games. And that leads us into our next thing here. Are we going to see more Wentz or more run the damn ball? And that's my point. I think as long as Carson Wentz does his job, doesn't turn the ball over, and combined with Frank Reich doing his job and staying a little more run heavy, keeping a hold of the football, and establishing Jonathan Taylor our best offensive weapon, I think that is how we would win this football game.
I think you're right on the money there. I don't want Carson Wentz to be out there throwing the ball 50 times a game again, 50 times, I should say, against this Bills defense. That's not going to be the recipe for success. The recipe for success for this football team is giving it to your superstar there in the backfield, giving it to Jonathan Taylor. Again, Jonathan Taylor last week had 21 carries. Colts won the game. Colts still have only lost it one time when Jonathan Taylor has more than 18 carries. That's your workhorse. You give it to Jonathan Taylor. Then you spell him with Nyheim Hines. Against the Jets, Nyheim Hines had a lot more touches, and that offense just took off because you're riding those guys. Nyheim Hines had a really good game against Buffalo, if I remember correctly, in the wild card game last year. And then once the defense starts to come in, starts to get over aggressive, then you look for Michael Pittman Jr. Then you look for guys like Zach Pascal, T.Y. Hilton. You're going to have those guys in there that Wentz can still throw the ball, but you're not putting it all on his shoulders, especially when and if you do, that's when the Colts are going to really get into trouble, because then things will start to get behind. Carson Wentz will start having to think he has to do everything. And that's just not a recipe for success for this Colts team. I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor. Now, you don't want to be too predictable either. You don't want to continue to run it. If it's not working,
what have we said? What have we said? Jonathan Taylor is so good. I don't care if they're loading the box. You still need to commit to the run. We're not seeing, like you said, not predictable, but it still there needs to be a commitment to the run.
Well, and I even saw a stat this year that Jonathan Taylor really hasn't faced too many heavy boxes this year. And I think that's partly because defenses do respect Carson Wentz. They respect that he can make throws and make plays and burn them if teams completely sell out on the run. And I think that's why it helps out both ways. You have that threat in Carson Wentz to take pressure off of Jonathan Taylor, but then you can also ride Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines in the running game, so that way everything isn't on Carson Wentz's shoulders and he has to throw it, like I said, 50 times a game for the Colts to have success. So I put this question on the outline, but I don't want it to really be more. I want it to be a very balanced attack between the run and the pass. And I think if it is, then I think the Colts win. I think if it's geared more toward the pass and we're relying heavily on that, then I don't like the Colts' chances as much.
And just to make a point here for the conversation going on in the chat, one season is just saying he doesn't think we'll run the ball well in the Bills. Well, the Bills are ranked second against the pass and third against the run. Matt says, they've only played one great rushing team, and that was the Tennessee Titans. They went for 148. So, again, I mean, we're going to have to play a balanced game. The reason I think running the ball is going to be even more important in this football game is because we're going up against a team that has scored 16 against the Steelers, okay? Tough defense. They lost that football game week 1, but then put up 35 against the Dolphins, 43 against the Washington football team, 40 against the Texans, 38 against the Chiefs, 34 against the Titans, 26 against the Dolphins again. Obviously, crappy week against the Jaguars, but then bounced back with 45 against the Jets. Josh Allen is an animal. Josh Allen is a weapon. And the longer the football's out of his hands, the better. And the way the Colts offense has been working this year, I feel like the defense could go out there and get a stop. They turn around, the offense goes and scores sometimes, with big chunk plays, and the defense is right back on the field. The defense is going to need every second of rest they can get because playing against a high-powered offense with a secondary who has questionable This a questionable secondary against wide receivers like Stephon Diggs. We don't want them to have the football very often, is my point.
And I think that's where the running game comes in. If you can steadily run the ball with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, that gives that defense a rest, and it allows the Colts to eat up possession time. So that's why running the ball. I mean, I feel like we're a broken record, and we're saying the same thing every week. But I just think that's why the Colts running game is so crucial to them, because if the running game is taken away, and you kind of saw this last Sunday, even the Jonathan Taylor had 93 rushing yards in the first quarter. He had 116 total for the game. So after the first quarter, he had 23 yards, something like that. And you saw the Colts offense came to a crawl after that.
Yeah.
That's why this running game is so important, and the Colts need to try to get the running game going so that way they can, like you said, keep the defense off the field, keep them rested, and keep Josh Allen his butt on the sideline as well.
That was every defense's goal, or every team's goal against guys like Peyton Manning. That's everybody's goal against Tom Brady. Use up even at the end of a half, people are worried about letting Tom Brady have a football again. You know what I mean? Like the goal is to keep quarterbacks like that off the field. Especially when they're gearing up towards an MVP level season. Let's talk some more about Josh Allen. Another quarterback with legs, another mobile guy, another dude who likes bootlegs. This guy, though, Andrew, I think we're facing the three best running quarterbacks in the league this year. Already played one of them. Have Josh Allen this week, and then we got Kyler Murray next week too. So Josh Allen, I think, he's definitely top three running quarterbacks in the league, which never bodes well for us.
Well, I put Ryan Tannehill in that conversation as well. I mean,
Ryan Tannehill may be the best bootleg specifically, but
right.
Not one of the best runners.
Josh Allen's pretty good. I think that's putting it lightly. I mean,
Josh Allen is good at football.
But I look back to the game that the Colts had against Josh Allen and the Bills in the playoffs last year. And for the most part, the Colts, I think, did a pretty good job against Josh Allen as far as keeping him contained in the pocket. Now, Daniel Jones.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not a bad response. It's just funny because all I can think about is the trip.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for Josh Allen, though, is not necessarily getting outside the pocket like we see some guys do, like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Ryan Tannehill, where they like to run side to side. Josh Allen's more of a guy that will step up and kind of just run straight forward, kind of what we saw last week with Trevor Lawrence. When the pocket started to break down, Trevor Lawrence usually stepped up and ran right through. That's a lot of what Josh Allen does too. He can step up, and that's where he gets his holes. And I remember a play specifically last year where he tried to do that, and him and Darius Leonard met head on, and Darius just kind of stopped him in his tracks. But I think that's what the Colts are going to have to watch out for, is you can't let him break contain like that, where he stays in the pocket for so long. Your defensive ends and your defensive tackles get upfield, and then it allows him a clear lane to run, where it leaves like Bobby Okereke or Darius Leonard on an island with him. So I think that's what's going to be very crucial as far as Josh Allen running the ball, and then Josh Allen throwing the ball is a completely different story.
One way to stop Josh Allen is to just go ahead and stop him before he takes off.
Yeah.
All these close calls where we're almost home and we're not wrapping up, or we're just not getting two hands on it. Whatever you got to bring the man down when you get the chance. I think that's been our defensive line's biggest challenge this year, is they've come so close over and over and over, and they just can't seal the deal, finish the job. And I'd like to see them get home a few times, beat Josh Allen up, make him question, when he drops back and he's going to pass, is he safe? Is he going to be able to have a clean pocket and get the ball off?
Right. And I think we've been seeing that, though, especially the last couple weeks. We have been seeing this Colts defensive line in particular making more plays. Kwity Paye, Dio Dangbo both made huge plays against the Jaguars to seal the victory. We're starting to see DeForest Buckner really come on as well, even though DeForest Buckner was dealing with a myriad of injuries today on the injury report. We're starting to see him, as I should say, see him becoming what we envisioned DeForest Buckner to be this year, because he started out where this year
Matt
he
Maringer,
started.
unofficial stats guy.
Matt says the Buffalo has given up the fourth most pressures, which is great. Bodes well for guys like Kwity Paye, Dio Odangbo, Al-Qadim Muhammad, DeForest Buckner, and then the guy that the most underrated guy on the defensive line, and Grover Stewart. Big Grove has been the one that's been clogging up the middle. He's been getting even more pressures, and usually he's the guy that's just in there to basically be that clog in the running game. And we're seeing Grover Stewart start to create pressure as well. But this is where it's time to get home. One of the biggest things in that game against Buffalo last year was that the defensive line they had their moments where they were able to get to Josh Allen, but there were other moments where, again, they were just that close to getting him down, and it led to big plays. You revamped this pass rush. You wanted to get these young guys like Kwity Paye, Dio Dangbo, put a lot of draft capital into these guys. You have DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart up there. And I think it just all comes back to this point. If you want to be a playoff team, you got to beat the good teams. And the pass rush has to step up and be dominant against Josh Allen's to really stifle this Bills offense.
Andrew, it's a who should start question. I think we both agree on the who should start. Who do you think will start at corner this week, Xavier Rhodes or Isaiah Rodgers?
I think Xavier Rhodes probably will start if he's healthy. He was a limited participant in practice today, so if all bodes well, he will. I think Xavier Rhodes is on a very short leash, though, because Isaiah Rodgers has been competing and has been playing very well when Xavier Rhodes has been out. Isaiah Rodgers comes in, competes his ass off, and he makes plays. Simple as that. He almost made a game-changing play in this game last year in the AFC wildcard, where he almost intercepted Josh Allen down by the goal line. And I think if he is able to get his hands on that and bring that in, it completely changes the game, because the Bills went on and scored on that drive. So Isaiah Rodgers knows that. He keeps that in the back of his mind, and he's been using that as fuel to get better. So if Xavier Rhodes isn't 100%, I firmly believe the Colts should send Isaiah Rodgers out there and give him the starter reps and let him go to work.
Do you think Xavier Rhodes has to know right now that people are kind of clamoring for Rodgers, and he saw Rodgers have a good game this week. Do you think that pushes his ass a little bit on the football field?
I certainly hope so, especially because he knows if he's honest with himself, he knows he hasn't played very well this year.
Yeah,
he seems lost out there at times. His effort definitely hasn't been there. And then you have a kid in Isaiah Rodgers who last week against Jacksonville was locking his receiver up, didn't allow a single reception last week, and he's out there. You can tell just on the film, giving 110%, making diving interceptions, constantly fighting with his receivers, trying to get the ball and trying to break up passes. If Xavier Rhodes is smart and he is honest with himself, he needs to use that as fuel and a kick in the pants and say, I might lose my job out here if I don't step things up. So I hope he's taking it that way. And if he isn't, I hope the Colts see that. And I hope the Colts give Isaiah Rodgers that spot on the outside, because I think the Colts are a better team right now with Isaiah Rodgers out there.
Matt says Rodgers over Rhodes. How about this one? Carey over Sandejo?
I would love to see that, because Anderson Dejo is bad. He's
Not
real
good.
bad.
Hey, he had a big hit last week.
He had a big hit,
Like
but
a little pipe.
I'd rather my safety not miss 5 tackles a game like Anderson Dejo does.
Yeah, very true. Hey, let's take it easy on the missed tackles, because Kenny Moore missed some tackles this year as well. So
he missed some, but
who's
Anderson
the X factor?
Dejo is another story. Xavier Rhodes. I'm going to go with Xavier Rhodes right here.
Me.
It's kind of, did you like that? You like that little lead into my X factor there? It's Xavier Rhodes, because if Xavier Rhodes goes out there and plays like he has all year, whoever he's guarding, whether it's Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, whichever wide receiver Xavier Rhodes is matched up on, they're probably going to have a field day, and Josh Allen's going to take advantage of it. So he needs to come out and he needs to play like the Xavier Rhodes of 2020, because if not, Isaiah Rodgers is right there nipping on his heels. And if the Colts don't put Isaiah Rodgers in and leave a struggling Xavier Rhodes out there, this is going to be a long game, and the Colts defense is not going to be very happy about it.
So, I mean, obviously, the defensive side of the football, the secondary in general is my biggest concern about this game. But my X factor, I feel like I can go this one. I'm sure it's been a long time since I went with the easy quarterback answer. Carson Wentz. I think the more I think about it, I don't know that he needs to have an outstanding game to win, but I do need him. We need him to not have a bad game. This cannot be one of his lackluster performances, his, bad decision type games. It's got to be a game similar to the Jets. Good decision making, quick decision making. And then I think I heard something this week about he checked into some runs over the last couple weeks. Maybe some more of that when he sees the right thing and he questions, but I could throw it here. Get it, just put the team in the right position to have success. Short chains, short third down conversions. And I think that we might have a chance to win.
And I have seen that over the past couple of weeks watching the film of Carson Wentz checking into some runs. And I remember we kind of got on him a little bit in the beginning where we were saying that he needs to, if it's not there on the pass, we need to see those checks into the run game. And the last few weeks, especially against the Jets, that's where it was more prevalent. He really did check into the run. He knew Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines were hot, and he made sure that when those looks were there, he got the ball into their hands, which was really good and very, I guess, very honest of Carson Wentz, and showing that he knows that these guys have the hot hand and doing whatever it takes to build up those leads that the Colts love to do, so they can let their defense and their pass rush kind of go to work.
One season, no one has mentioned how important this game is for the playoffs. If the Pats would win the division, we would have the tiebreaker over the Bills. That's correct. If the Pats don't win the division, we still have to play the Pats this year too. So a similar situation later. It's pretty unlikely that we win the division at this point unless Houston just starts the downfall of Tennessee. But this is a good point. This game could have playoff implications in regards to the wild card.
Definitely. I don't know if it'll get to that point, but at this point, any win for the Colts is a good win, but especially those AFC wins, because with things being so tight in the AFC wildcard picture right now, those tiebreakers where whoever has the best record over the AFC, they might come into play here come week 17 and 18.
Prediction: Colts by 1 million.
There we go.
I think we're gonna lose this game. I don't. You know what? I said the over earlier. I don't know that I like that either. 50. We could give up 35 points. You know what? Yeah, I'll go over 50. 35-27. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Hold on. Nope, because I said we'd cover.
You gotta do some quick math.
Yeah, 30-36.
30-36 Bills.
Bills are gonna win. We're not gonna win.
That's an odd score. 36.
It is odd.
Game.
I don't give a shit.
I've really been going back and forth on this game. Because I can see if the Colts play their best, I can see them beating the Bills. While the Bills are ranked as the second best offense, or number one ranked offense, or second ranked offense, third best defense, whatever it is, their schedule, they played the Dolphins, they played the Texans, they've played the Jets, they played a lot of bad teams. So I don't know how good Buffalo is. I really think it's going to come down to how the secondary responds, and if we get the best out of them, if the Colts can protect Carson Wentz and not having running for his life all day, then I think the Colts really do have a shot. And I think I'm going to go with the Colts. I've just a feeling that I think the Colts are going to come out and respond. I will take the over. because I do think 50.5. I think it's
The
going
only
to
good
take.
team the Bills have beaten is Kansas City, and that's if you consider Kansas City good right now.
Right. So I will take the over. I'm going to go. Let's see here. I'm going to go 31-27. The Colts win. Does that cover?
Yeah. What do you mean? Does it cover?
Well, or not cover? Is that over?
It
Does
hits
that
over.
hits the over? Yeah.
Last I checked, 30 plus 20 is 50. So yeah, you're good there.
31-27. Colts.
All right. We'll see. I don't think so. I hope I'm wrong.
Maybe that'll be where
my favorite. This is my favorite transition. We go to other Colts news. It's injuries.
Always the Debbie Downer of the show here. Let's take a look under the hood. So the practice report for today, there were quite a few guys out with injuries, but again, it's Wednesday. Guys probably just getting some rest in. TJ Carey was out with a knee. Eric Fisher with a back. Darius Leonard with his ankle. Pretty much par for the course for this year. Dio Odangbo with his ankle, probably just a little rest for that Achilles. And then Braden Smith with his elbow injury. And I didn't notice this at the game, but I did while I was watching the film, that Braden Smith had a hell of a brace on his right arm on that elbow. So I'm sure that's still not fully healthy, just trying to get that some rest. Now, the guys that were limited today was just Xavier Rhodes with the calf, but it's good to see him back at practice. And the guys that were full participants who got a little bit banged up on Sunday, Jack Doyle with his knee, Quentin Nelson with the ankle, EJ Speed with the knee, and then the last but not least, DeForest Buckner. Here's all his injuries. He's dealing with an abdomen, a throat, and a back injury. That guy is all kinds of banged up. And DeForest Buckner,
a throat?
He must have got punched in the throat or something like that. But yeah, he's listed as did not participate with an abdomen, a throat, and a back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think Buckner should be fine to play. Hopefully the rest of the guys are good to go as well.
I had a joke, but it's inappropriate and I won't make it.
Okay.
I'll tell you after the show. Hey, there is some other Colts news. Linebacker EJ Speed named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week for his performance against the Jaguars. One special team tackle, return block, punt for a touchdown. Good for him.
Give him a round of applause.
Keep it going for running back. Jonathan Taylor wins FedEx Ground Player of the Week again for performance against the Jaguars. 21 carries, 160 yards, and a touchdown. He's going to be FedEx Ground Player of the Month.
It's going to be FedEx Ground Player of the Year. The dude did that. He won that, and pretty much all of his stats came in the first quarter as well.
That's
pretty phenomenal.
And hey, as said by Mr. Matt in the chat here, Colts in-season Hard Knocks begins tonight on HBO at 10 p.m. Or if you're listening on the podcast, last night at 10 p.m. I'm going to bed. I will watch it tomorrow.
What are you most excited to see about?
I have no idea.
I'll say, what are you most excited to see about the entire season? Like, do you want to see like behind the scenes for a specific player? Do you want to see something?
Lucas, say hi.
Hey, what's up, Heidi? Heidi in the chat saying that DeForest Buckner
Welcome.
is good. Love
Thanks
to see
watching.
her.
He's good at football.
Yeah, what are you most excited to see about the Colts?
I want to see Frank Reich say fuck.
Well, that's not going to happen. We're going to have to bleep it. We're going to have to bleep it.
I'm not bleeping anything. We're putting explicit on it like grown-ups. Did you listen back? Did you hear your mess up the other night?
I did, and I did not say what you said I said.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yeah, you did.
Absolutely.
All right. I don't know. I want to see Frank Reich show a little emotion on the camera. I want to see him get a little pissed off.
I don't know if we'll see that. I think we'll see Chris Ballard definitely get pissed off because apparently from what all the indie media members say, Chris Ballard watching a game, like he'll get mad in the press box watching a game and he'll get like visibly upset. I kind of want to see that and see him get mad watching the games.
We want to see the leadership of this team just lose it mentally.
I just want to see stuff that like Colts Productions doesn't normally show or something like that. I want to maybe see behind the scenes with like Darius Leonard seeing his family life or Carson Wentz with his family life. Kind of see those stories.
It's going to be different than the training camp version 2. So who knows? It's going to be interesting. I'm excited about it.
And honestly, there probably will be a back of the roster player. Maybe it's going to be Isaiah Rodgers that they kind of show that you don't really think about too much, but he still plays a vital role on this team.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to see the Colts on Hard Knocks.
I'm excited to see how they produce. I'm excited about the production and what they see is important. And then, it's going to be interesting.
Did you think that when this first came out that I would be so excited about it? Because I'm always like, no, don't want surprised. It. Don't want that around.
Yeah. You don't want it during training camp, and all of a sudden you're all for it during the season. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Who knows?
Very confusing. All right, let's move it along here. Picks, first week 10 game. Rams got beat by the 49ers. Matt Stafford did not throw for 300 yards, and I am not gambling this weekend.
R.I.P. to Brandon's bets. Man, Matthew Stafford was bad.
Yeah, it was tough.
You see my tweet that it's going to be real interesting to see the Rams get all these stars and then lose in the divisional round to the Cardinals. I mean, it's on track to happen.
Yeah.
Just saying.
They're not very consistent right now. Packers are the best team in the league right now. Them and Tennessee. I think I stand by that.
I'd say Tennessee is probably the best in the league, unfortunately.
I don't want to say it out loud. So pick-up standings. Andrew did catch up to me last week with the one game we disagreed on. So we're both 89 and 60, sitting at a hot 60%. Not good. Not good. But
and in Yahoo, I'm technically listed as number 1 because of the tiebreakers, but
the tiebreakers. Okay. Well, I don't take those very seriously, Andrew. I think I've picked the Jets to score the least amount of points 3 weeks in a row. So, week 11, Patriots Falcons. Patriots at Falcons. 28-3 final score.
Oof. Any Falcons fans, RIP to that comment. Yeah, I'm not.
Patriots are going to win that one.
I'm not picking the Falcons. Screw them. They always screw me. So we're going with the Pats.
Yeah, I'm going Pats. Colts at Bills. I picked the Bills. You picked the Colts. I'm putting this one on paper here, just to be clear.
All right, there we go.
Are the Ravens going to blow it again this week in Chicago?
I don't think so. I think if they were able to pull it out against Minnesota a couple weeks ago, they'll be able to do it against Chicago. I'm going with the Ravens.
I would go with the Ravens as well. The Chicago Bears are not good. What are they? 2 wins?
No, I think they've got 3. I think they're 3-5.
Okay,
maybe
3-5. They had 2 buys.
3-6.
Yeah. This next one's interesting.
I don't know.
I'm skipping one real quick just because the odds are on the screen. Green Bay minus 125, Minnesota plus 105. I think those are a little slim. I know it's in Minnesota, but the Packers are going to win that. I skipped 2. We'll go back. But the Packers are going to win that football game.
See, I'm going to go Packers, but I don't feel too confident on it, to be honest. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling this is going to be a very close game, and I would not be surprised. Not because the Packers aren't good, but I just think the Vikings are starting to hit their stride a little bit, and I would not be surprised if the Vikings do pull this out at home.
All right, Lions at Browns. No way. No way do the Browns blow this one, right? No way. Browns win. Browns beat the Lions at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go Browns. I always say, hey, I'm going to pick the Lions. They got to win sometime. Well, they didn't lose last week, technically. So they're going to go back to the losing ways. I'm going with the Browns.
How does our pick go last week for the tie? Do we just
think it was just
do they
push.
Remove it? They just push it? They remove it? Yeah, Browns. Titans hosting the Texans.
It's funny that 1.27% of users on Yahoo are going with the Texans because that should be 0%. The Titans are going to obliterate the Texans.
They got to catch up. So, I mean, people got to get wins on the people at the top somehow. Yeah, Titans are going to win that football game. Dolphins at Jets.
I fully
listen. Tyler pitched me this whole thing today about how the Dolphins, if they win out, they'll still make the playoffs.
Well,
their schedule's actually not impossible to do that either. I found it interesting.
Dream on, Tyler. They'll get the win this
That's what I
week,
said too.
but they're not going to win out. They'll win versus the Jets. Joe Flacco is bringing his eliteness back to play. He was named the starter today. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, the Dolphins will probably just zero blitz him like they did Lamar Jackson and just make Joe Flacco.
I want to pick Joe Flacco so bad,
I'm
but
going Dolphins.
I'm going Dolphins. Saints at Eagles. You go ahead.
I'm riding the Nick Sirianni train. I'm going Eagles. The Saints haven't impressed me lately, and with Trevor Siemian back there, Taysom Hill, who the self-proclaimed greatest athlete in the NFL, has been garbage as a quarterback. I'm riding the hot hand of Nick Sirianni. I'm going Eagles.
I'll
At
go
home.
Eagles as well. I don't like it, but I'll go Eagles. Panthers hosting the Washington football team. Cam is going to have a slide. I mean, like the last week's not going to happen again. Not 2 weeks in a row, but they're still going to win this one. But Cam having a bad day is coming in the next couple of weeks, but not against the Washington football team. Not against his old coach.
I think Cam will continue to they'll continue to ride that momentum a little bit. I think it'll be a closer game because I don't think that the Panthers are just going to go and blow out Washington like they blew out the Cardinals last week. No Chase Young. And I think that might be the difference and allows Cam to kind of stay a little bit more comfortable back there. I'm going Panthers.
And 49ers at Jacksonville. Got to go Niners after the way they just handled the Rams. Have to.
Right. I'm going with the Niners as well. I do think that Jacksonville will put up a fight because we saw it firsthand. Their defense is legit, but I think the 49ers will be able to pull it out in the end.
Rivera said he's held back defensive schemes for if he ever played Cam.
That is true. He did say that.
That's a fun quote. Yeah, Niners. Bengals at Las Vegas.
This game's tough. You go first on this one.
You think cool Joe Burrow is going to go into Las Vegas, not smoking cigars and just tearing up the turf? Get out of town. Joe Burrow is going to win in Las Vegas. There's no way he loses that football game.
Yeah, I'm leaning Bengals as well, especially with the Raiders are starting to slide and come back down to earth. And I think Joe Burrow, didn't the Bengals have a bye week last week? So they're off a bye. They're going to be ready to come out and they pretty much have to win these games if they want to stay in touch with like the Ravens for the AFC North crown. So I'm going to go Bengals.
I keep seeing all these Super Bowl favorites, like people who could really win it. Super Bowl contenders, playoff teams, the nobodies. Dallas Cowboys seem to be at top of that list for some reason. It's time for them to prove it this week. I'm picking the Cowboys over the Chiefs in Kansas City.
Oh, I thought I was going to get you on this one because I'm going Cowboys as well. I don't think that I just made
that decision.
One good week from Kansas City does not change my opinion on him. I want to start to see it multiple weeks in a row. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes had a good game, but can he keep it up? Can that defense stop an offense like the Dallas Cowboys, who has so many weapons? And I think the Cowboys are on a roll right now. I'm going with the boys.
Unless I have money on the Cowboys, I'm not gonna say the words "Go Cowboys" and mean it. But I am picking them. Cardinals at Seahawks. Is Kyler Murray playing?
He said he's close. So my guess is he probably does play.
This is a stipulation game. If Kyler Murray plays, because the magic is worn off for Colt McCoy, if Kyler Murray plays, I like the Cardinals. I don't think Russ is back fully yet. For now, I'm going to say Cardinals, but I might change that pick before Sunday.
I'm going to go Cardinals as well. I think Kyler Murray will play, and I think that will be a big difference in this game. And it just doesn't seem like the Seahawks have anything going right now. So I do expect Russell Wilson to play better, but if Kyler Murray's there, this Cardinals team is just going to be too much.
Steelers at Los Angeles Chargers.
This might be the toughest game of the week, in my opinion. And I honestly do not know which way to go, because the Steelers, while their defense has been playing well, it's Justin Herbert, man. And you know how much I love me some Justin Herbert. Chargers are at home. I'm going to go Chargers. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert over TJ Watt and this Steelers defense.
Isn't TJ Watt hurt?
He is. I don't think he's out, but he's nursing a lower body injury, if I remember correctly.
I mean, look at what the Steelers have done this last few weeks. Tied the line, Chargers. I forgot about the tie with the Lions. I'm going Chargers. That right. I didn't even bother to look at the rest of the games. And then Giants at Bucks. I'm going.
Well, they tied the Lions because they had Mason Rudolph at quarterback. You got to remember that. Big Ben was out.
But Josh says Mason Rudolph is talented.
Well, he's not. Sorry, Josh. He's not. He's Mason Rudolph. He's a below average backup. I wouldn't say that. He's an average backup quarterback.
Giants at Bucks. Gotta be Bucks. Bucks cannot lose 3 in a row. There's no way Tom Brady's losing 3 in a row after this documentary came out this week. Not happening.
I'm so sick of the Giants and their garbage team with their primetime games. Bucks are going to destroy the Giants on Monday Night Football.
People in New York don't even like football. None of the people there get to play it. They live in the city. There are no football fields.
Their teams are so bad.
I think the Giants are the team to score the least points this week.
I'm going to go Jets.
Going who the Jets play?
The Jets play the Dolphins. Against elite Joe Flacco's about to throw up an egg.
That's good too. Giants are going to score 10 points. Bucks are going to score 42.
I'll probably go with the Bucks as the most this week as well. What do you have?
16, Chargers 27. Most points this week. Bucks?
I'm going Bucks.
I'm going Cowboys.
Ooh, Cowboys on that Chiefs defense. That's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I like it. Least points?
The Jets.
Ooh, we're Atlanta. Wow. This is good. This is good radio. This is good podcast stuff. Fuck, I'll pick the Jets. I pick them every week.
Listen, the Dolphins are going to use that cover 0 blitz on Joe Flacco all day. He's not going to be able to do anything with it.
That's fair. Any news around the league? No.
I think that's it. There's no news around the league. No bad beats with Brandon today.
Nope. Sorry. I gave up on gambling. Again, go follow us at a Colts podcast. We really appreciate everybody that talks to us and shits on Andrew on Twitter. That's a lot of fun for me.
The joys of being a Colts beat writer is getting all those homers after me, but it's okay. Keep it coming.
Now, see, we're gonna wrap up. I might actually be able to finish production and get into bed by 9:00.
You old man.
I'm just so tired. On December 7th cannot come soon enough. That's the end of my work's busy season for those of you that don't know. Big game. We play at 1, right?
1:00 in Buffalo.
Weird. But hopefully we win. Go Colts.
Go Colts. Get the dub.
Let this moment become a cherished memory. And then remember, a legacy is only worthwhile when there is a future to fuel. God bless you, and God bless football.